All right, welcome back to the Horsemen Pro Football Talk. I am Brad.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
Today we're breaking down the AFC West. We're going to run through all the teams. Seems to be a little bit of dissension about who's going to finish where. We'll probably argue about that too. But before we get started, we got a little bit of trivia today, huh?
Yep, let's do it. I got 7 questions for the both of you. Well, 7 questions total between the two of you.
Okay,
So
I got it.
Each question's worth 1 point. If you get it wrong, then the other person has a chance to steal, and we'll see who has the most points at the end of the
All right,
end of the game.
I was scattered last time we did this, but you're in trouble, Jeff.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Question number 1, going to Jeff. Who was the last AFC West team to win the Super Bowl, but not the divisional title in that same year?
Oh man.
Can I strike my trash talking from the record? I didn't know it was going to be like this, man.
I had to make it interesting.
That's tough, Jeff.
I'm gonna say the Broncos.
That is correct. Do you know the year?
1998.
Close. It was 97. But you did
No,
get
they
the
went
team,
back to back.
Yep. 98, they won the divisional title in the Super Bowl. 97, they did not win the division. So, Jeff, with the point.
Of course, if had I known that was going to be a question for Jeff, I wouldn't have talked about it in the last episode.
All right, Brad, you ready?
Yep.
This Oakland Raiders quarterback / kicker is 7th all time on the
George
NFL
Blanda.
scoring list. Correct. I figured you'd know that.
Yep. Did you know that, Jeff?
No, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's why I gave that one to you. That was what he was back in the 70s.
Why? Because it's an old question.
All right, question number 3 is worth 2 points. There's 2 parts to this, so 2 different answers. I'll accept either one. Jeff, you're going to go first. The question is, the Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders have always been a part of the AFC West. Name the other 2 franchises that have also participated in the AFC West. I just want one of them from you. 1 out of 2.
That's a great question. The Oilers?
That is incorrect. Brad, would you like to steal?
Well, I was going to say the Oilers, so.
I mean, technically, you have 2 guesses. So if you get them both right, you'll get 2 points.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs have
already. The Chiefs are. No. I was going back to AFL, trying to think through that. Hold on, give me a second.
This is NFL, AFC West.
Okay. This is one of those that as soon as you say it, I'm going to regret that I didn't think about it, aren't
I? Maybe one of them. The second one's pretty tough.
I don't know.
It is the Seattle Seahawks, which they were in the division for a while. I forget the years. I should have written it down.
I don't remember them ever being in the AFC.
Yeah, they were with it probably like 10 years. I don't know. I got to look it back up. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. But the other team was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
For like a year. Either.
Yep.
So, but they came in together as expansion teams. So I'll have to go. Not that I don't believe you. That just doesn't make sense. I'll have to go read it.
I was according to Wikipedia, so believe everything on the internet, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be. I just don't remember. I was young enough to not really remember that realignment. So that's interesting. I'll go back and look at that.
Yeah, I think the Bucks were only in it for a year. But.
Okay.
All right, Jeff, you're up.
All right.
Who is the last non-quarterback to win an MVP award from the AFC West?
Terrell Davis.
That is incorrect. Brad, would you like to steal?
I was going to say Terrell Davis, so.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Uh,
Oh,
that was the year he scored what, like 28 touchdowns?
yeah, back in 06.
Wow.
All right, 1-1. Brad, you're up. You ready?
Yep.
Who is the only AFC West player to win multiple MVPs while playing for an AFC West team?
John Elway.
No.
Really?
I believe Elway only won one, didn't he?
I don't know.
I might have to fact check this. I got Ken Stabler as the answer back in 74 and 76.
The snake for the Raiders.
Let me fact check this and make sure I didn't screw everything up.
I should have known that that you were asking about an old player that nobody else remembers.
Oh, let's see. I think Elway only won one back in 87.
Surprises me that he didn't win one in the 90s.
That was the Steve Young, Emmitt Smith, Brett Favre, Barry Sanders years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
only won one. All right, it's still 1-1. And this is the tiebreaker question. So whoever gets the closest to this
All right.
will take it. Morton Anderson was a Chief between 2002 2003 and is number 2 on the NFL all-time scoring list. How many points did Morton Anderson score in his career?
12,000.
12,000?
Yeah.
Well, Adam Vinatieri is number 1 with 2,600.
Oh.
So, yeah. Go ahead and take another stab at that one.
2,300. Or wait,
20.
you said 20. You said military's number 1 with how many?
I think he has like 2655.
Oh, yeah. I'd say 23.
23. Jeff, what do you think?
You say 2,500?
25. Jeff takes it. He has 2,544 points.
All right. I went with the Vinatieri, may have shot passing kind of mindset.
Well, he was getting there until last season, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, we will talk about that. We're gonna let all the Titans fans. We're gonna put them on alert when we talk about it. All right, let's get into the AFC West. All right, Chargers. Everybody agrees, right? Well, kind of. The fans kind of agree. All right, I'm gonna start with Anthony Lynn. Who the hell is Anthony Lynn? Right. Well, ironically, did you guys know that Anthony Lynn was on Denver's back-to-back Super Bowl roster, 97, 98? Did you guys know?
No, I did not. What position?
I don't remember. I'll look that up real quick.
Probably linebacker if I had to guess.
Yeah, he looks like one.
Running back.
Oh.
That's why we never heard of him.
Oh, backing up Davis.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if the one that came in when Terrell Davis was having the headaches in the Super Bowl. That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, it would be interesting to find out. All right. So Anthony Lynn has he was on the Super Bowl back-to-back Super Bowl rosters 97, 98 for Denver, so he's got that going for him. And then he retired and he's moved through several teams as an assistant. But they were, are you ready? The Jacksonville Jaguars, the Dallas Cowboys, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, and the Buffalo Bills under Rex Ryan.
Oh, poor guy.
I don't know that I can give him much credit for all that. He so when he was with Jacksonville, he's a running backs coach under Jack Del Rio, and then he went to Dallas. In Cleveland, he was a running backs coach. I forget who. That was after. So he was under Parcells in Dallas, and then Parcells got fired. He went to Cleveland. And then he was with the Jets with Rex Ryan and with the Buffalo Bills. So his head coaching record, this is what worries me about him, is that they were 9-7 the first year, 12-4 the second year, where they lost to the Patriots in the AFC divisional game, but then they were only 5-11 last year. And he had a guy, he had a solid quarterback, Philip Rivers, potentially a future Hall of Famer. I know that's probably an arguable point, but his name's still worthy enough to have that conversation. And he's got a 542 win percentage in 3 years as head coach. I don't see this any different. I'm not impressed. Bottom of the barrel you go.
Yeah, I agree. I have them winning 3 games this year, 3-13. You got Tyrod Taylor starting out as a starting quarterback. I'm not big on Tyrod. I think he can handle it, but he's just not a winner in the NFL, in my opinion.
Or hasn't proven it. I mean, he could be, but he just hasn't shown anything, right?
But I don't see it happening. I don't see it. It didn't happen with the Browns.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening with the Chargers. You got Justin Herbert. Who knows how good he's going to be? He can do very well, or he can just be another bust. But he's going to take some time to develop and learn under Tyrod, even though I don't think Tyrod's the best guy to be doing that. Austin Eckler, he's a good running back. He's great in fantasy if you can pick him up. They still have Keenan Allen. Joey Bosa is a beast. And you have Melvin Ingram on the defensive side with Bosa. So they're all coming back. They're the 3 Pro Bowlers from last year. Hunter Henry's pretty good, but it just overall, coaching-wise, talent-wise, I don't see him putting it together, having anything good, and I see him going backwards, 3-13, finishing last in the division, which I know Jeff disagrees, and he's about to hit that home right now. So go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I got their record for me looks way different than you guys. I have them going 9-7, and they'd have a better record in my book if I had more faith than Anthony Lynn. He's a great guy and seems like he'd be a pretty good leader, but doesn't seem to be leading that. I mean, that team has been stacked every year. It seems like Tom Telesco just keeps filling that roster with more and more talent. And somehow, like you said, they go from 12-4 to 5-11 with essentially the same roster, if not a little better. And so I don't know how that happens. That has to be coaching in my book. But they're still, Tyrod Taylor's the projected starter. I have a lot of faith in what Justin Herbert's going to be able to do. But just recently, there was talk about Anthony Lynn saying that Colin Kaepernick would definitely have a workout with them whenever they're able to do that. So I'm hopeful that that'll happen. If Kaepernick goes there, I like him better than I do Tyrod. There's no telling what Colin Kaepernick looks like nowadays, but assuming, what he said is true and he's been training, hopefully he comes back looking good. But the offense is still pretty stacked with weapons. I don't like the offensive line. Offensive line's gotten a little older. They have Trey Turner there, who was good a couple years ago, but has gotten a little older and not as effective. Same thing with Brian Bulaga. He comes over from the Packers, just not what he used to be. So I think the offensive line is still going to be an issue like it was for Philip Rivers last year. So, but the defense, I mean, what the Seahawks had in Legion of Boom, there it is. And then the Denver had the no-fly zone. That's what I expect the Chargers to have this year. Their secondary is stacked. They get Derwin James back to kind of patrol the middle and help the running game, but it's athletic enough to help in the passing game too. So I think that the Chargers are going to look a little like the Patriots did last year, where the defense is just going to be lights out every game, and the offense is going to kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah, I want to point out too, when we're talking about Lynn, that we don't really know why Rivers left San Diego. San Diego acted like they were parting ways. The whole thing. I have a feeling that Rivers was done getting the hell beaten out of him and playing for a coach that he didn't think gave him a chance to win a Super Bowl. And I think he probably sought out Frank Reich just for that reason, because of their relationship and what Reich's done in Indianapolis, which is a different conversation we'll have completely when we talk about the Colts and the AFC South. But um, I that's probably a sure testament with a veteran quarterback who didn't want anything to do with this coach. And I don't know that that's factual, but it certainly plays into the scenario of what happened. For a guy just to walk out, I mean, the guy built his whole life in San Diego, right? Just play another couple of years and put up good numbers and keep your family in the same location where it's sunny all year long. There had to be a good reason for him to get out, and I think a Super Bowl in Indianapolis is what he's looking for.
I agree.
Yeah, and I have to imagine the commute from, I think he said Noblesville to Indianapolis is going to be a lot better than San Diego to LA.
Yeah, true that. It won't be as pretty of a drive in December, I promise you that, though.
Yeah, very true.
All right, so we're going on to the Raiders next.
The Raiders.
All right, guys, I'm a Chucky fan. I'm a big Chucky fan. I think John Gruden. I can't say I was gonna say I think he's a great coach. I can't really say that, and I'm gonna kind of break that down here for a second. But I like him. I think we've talked about this plenty of times drinking beer in my pool, that Gruden got screwed by the Tuck rule, and I'll never forget it. I can't imagine how personally he takes it. And we've talked about that in the sense that when the Tuck rule happened and the Patriots moved on and won their first Super Bowl, that first Super Bowl sets the stage for the other 5 that come behind it. Not guaranteed they're going to win it, but if that Tuck rule reverses and the Raiders go to the Super Bowl, does Gruden stay and he build a dynasty with the Raiders? Does the whole thing begin to collapse or stumble under Bill Belichick, and does he not win 6 Super Bowls in New England? That it's a question we'll never ask. But I think we can all agree that Tuck rule thing that was bullshit. So Gruden came into Tampa. A lot of people say that was a Barry Switzer effect. I don't buy it. Dungy had his chance. He didn't put them where they needed to go. Dungy went to Indianapolis and won because he had Peyton Manning, not because Dungy was a Super Bowl caliber coach. Dungy's a good coach. He's a very good coach who had an exceptional generational player that put him in the Super Bowl. He couldn't do that in Tampa. Gruden came in, turned the right knobs, got a Super Bowl. I know it was the team that Dungy built, but Gruden was responsible for pushing that over the edge. I think he deserves the credit for that, to be a Super Bowl coach. But that's my opinion, right? We don't really know if he's for real. We don't know that. We haven't seen what we haven't seen out of John Gruden is we haven't seen him build it and see it through. He built something and left. He came in and saw somebody else's job through. He hasn't done both. We haven't seen him do that. So his total record with Oakland is at 49-47. I'm sorry, Las Vegas now. Record with Oakland was with Oakland before. Now it's with Vegas. I'm sorry, that's his total record. It's 49-47 in the NFL. He's just above 500 for his career. That doesn't build a strong argument for being an exceptional coach. And unfortunately, in my opinion, he's in the division with the Chiefs. And I'm going to get to this, but a potentially dangerous Broncos team. I don't see the Raiders doing much this year.
Well, I kind of agree, but at the same time, kind of disagree. I think Gruden's definitely turning things around. And I'm going to read off a list of their key players. First off, they have 2 returning Pro Bowlers. Both are offensive linemen. So you got a solid offensive line. You also have Derek Carr, who can produce. You have Josh Jacobs.
Don't be talking bad about Derek Carr.
I know, right? But you got Derek Carr at quarterback, Josh Jacobs, who did very well last season, Tyrell Williams at receiver. You picked up Henry Ruggs in the first round, the receiver out of Alabama. Hunter Renfro, Nelson Aguilar, Zay Jones, then tight ends Darren Waller and Jason Witten. So you have the pieces. I think Gruden can tie it all together. So I think their offense is going to be pretty good this year. But I don't think I got them finishing second in the division, but I only have them winning 6 games. That's how weak I think the division is. But I'm putting this conspiracy out there. First year in Vegas, 1 or 2 years, they're going to be one of the top teams in the league because you got to get that base set and you got to get the money flowing in.
Good point. We see it with teams that want to build a new stadium all the time.
Yep.
Make a spectacular run, boom, then they go back, drift back into oblivion. What do you think about the Raiders, Jeff?
I like the Raiders a lot. Obviously,
Of course, yeah. You're wearing.
I have a lot of faith in Derek Carr. Now that they got pieces around him, and the offensive line is stable again. Derek Carr, before he got hurt in a game against the Colts a couple of years ago, was probably the lead candidate that year for the MVP. And then, the year after that, they had lost a couple pieces, and it wasn't the same team that he was coming back from injury. Some quarterbacks they're just not the same. Got to get a little bit under the legs. But last year he showed that he could produce, and he started to produce again. And like Zach said, Josh Jacobs was a beast in his first year. Hopefully the shoulder injury that he had doesn't change the way he plays. Hopefully that's not really affecting him anymore because he was a monster last year. And then their defense should have been better last year. They had a couple young guys that produced, like Max Crosby was a 5th round pick, I believe. And he produced really well. He looks like he's going to be a monster for a while. And Cleveland Farrell, even though he got drafted higher than he probably should have, he's still pretty good edge rusher. And the rest of they had a guy in Jonathan Abram last year, one of their safeties. He got hurt early in the year and wasn't able to play. And I think that was a big reason why their secondary was giving up so many big plays. And the reason, even in the close games, defense couldn't finish it out for him because they kept letting it go over the top. All around, I like the team. My issue is Gruden and the system. I don't know if what Gruden's trying to do fits the pieces that they have because they have a lot of burners, and John Gruden's more of a run first in the West Coast. Get it, hit guys in slants and stuff like that. I don't think the Mayock has brought in the pieces that necessarily fit that mold. Gruden knows enough about football. If anybody's going to be able to adapt, it's going to be guys like him. So it wouldn't surprise me if he figures out some new things to do. But I just don't think the talent meshes well with the system that he tries to run. And maybe he gives more control to the OC this year. But I don't think it's a good mesh. And I don't know if the players buy into it. Mariota's the new backup, right? So if Carr and Gruden still don't see eye to eye, then, which I don't know if that's a real thing or not. But I don't like Mariota.
You just make that up, or is that a rumor?
What's that?
That Carr and Gruden are we starting a rumor that Carr and Gruden don't like each other?
Oh no,
that's tension in Vegas.
Yeah, they were talking about it last year.
Okay.
I don't know if I buy into it, but apparently that's why they brought Mariota in, was because of the tension that's there. So if that is the case and Mariota comes in, then I don't have any faith in Mariota to carry any team in the league to any more than 4 wins. So that's why I went ahead with the 4-12. A little dysfunction that may or may not be there. I just don't have confidence in it.
What do you have their win total as?
4-12 and last place in the division.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think I had them right around 6 games, but I don't remember.
Yeah, we all pretty much agree around there.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up about Carr. And Carr's his contract expires either this season or next season, right?
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be the end of this year.
So they'd have a tough time unloading him if there is a problem. That'd be interesting to see how that develops.
Yeah, well, in next year, I can't remember the whole list, but the list of quarterbacks that's going to be free agents next year, there's like 15 or 20 notable guys that can go different places to grab a starter job or something like that. So guys like Derek Carr, I doubt are going to be traded or signing an extension or anything like that.
Yeah, well, Carr's his contract was significant and kind of reset the old quarterback market. Was in 125 million for 5 years, I think.
Four
So
or 5 years, something like that.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of overpaid quarterbacks right now, in my opinion. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on next to the Broncos. I I have never really paid much attention to Vic Fangio. I mean, I know who Vic is. I know he's been around a long time. I know this and that. But I learned a lot about Vic Fangio. And so Fangio has been coaching for 40 years with 32 seasons in the NFL. He's been a defensive coordinator for 20 of the last 24 seasons at the NFL or the college level. And Fangio was credited for the success in San Francisco under Harbaugh. He was in his first 3 seasons in Chicago. The Bears improved from a 30th ranked. They were ranked 30th in 2014 to then 14th, 15th, and 10th. And then when I need help pronouncing his last name, is it Nagy? Matt Nagy?
Nagy.
Nagy? Okay. When Nagy came into Chicago and he gave Fangio total control over the defense, they surged to one of the best defenses in the league in 2018. They led the NFL in turnovers and interceptions with 36 and 27, respectively. They were ranked third in total defense, second in yards per play allowed, first in scoring defense. That year, he was named the Assistant Coach of the Year by both the Pro Football Writers Association and the Associated Press. He was 7-9 in his first year with Denver. He now has offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur, previously head coach of the Giants, has now come in. But Pat Shurmur as a head coach doesn't impress me at all. But the offensive numbers of Pat Shurmur while he was in New York are extremely impressive. Rookie quarterback Daniel Jones threw for 24 touchdowns and more than 3,000 yards in just 13 games. Pat Shurmur was instrumental in the Vikings season 2017 with Case Keenum. And that Keenum threw for over 3,500 yards and 22 touchdowns, just had 7 interceptions. And then before that, he was an offensive coordinator in Chip Kelly in Philadelphia. So I think this combination with Fangio and Shurmur, with Elway's leadership, I think this is a dangerous coaching combination, and the league should be on notice. I don't know if it'll be this year. I'm sure we're getting ready to get into depth about player personnel and what they need and what they have. But I think the Chiefs are going to lock this division up, but the Broncos could sneak their way in the playoffs, and in the coming years, they could be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Especially, John Elway as a GM has kind of taken some hits outside of picking up Peyton Manning and being able to win a Super Bowl. He hadn't really done anything, but he has a guy in Drew Lock. After all the quarterbacks, Drew Lock seems like he's going to be able to win, and he has some pieces around him. Cortland Sutton looked really good last year. Melvin Gordon comes in when Philip Lindsay was already a good enough number one running back. But now you have Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay. That's going to be great for them. And then you get a guy to go opposite Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, who is the most like Julio Jones that I've seen come in the league since Julio Jones. And Julio Jones to me is the number one receiver in the league. He's just a physical beast. Jerry Judy is a lot of that. And I've seen a couple of videos of Jerry Judy recently doing some of his drills, and the way he's able to cut on a dime is just next level. So I have high hopes for Jerry Judy. And I think him and Cortland Sutton, the things that they're going to be able to do, that offense should be really good. The offensive line is still kind of young. It's not the best offensive line in the game. They're kind of mid tier. Um, but they have some guys coming back on defense that are really going to help them out. And they traded for Jarrell Casey, who, as Colts fans, we're familiar with because Jarrell Casey played for the Titans, and he's a beast. He's a huge kind of guy, but for as big as he is, he can still get off the edge and get at the quarterback. They obviously have Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, and they were able to get AJ Bouye as part of the Jaguars offloading all their talent. AJ Bouye came over, and Justin Simmons was already a really good safety. So I like what they're doing. I still think they're a little too young to compete with the Chiefs, and I don't know if they'll be able to make the playoffs. My projection for them is 5-11. It might be a little better than that. I if I had to guess, it'd be somewhere between 5-11 and 8-8. Somewhere in that range. But like you said, the coming years they should be a threat to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I got to keep it short because you guys pretty much hit on everything. I think they're
Jeff just
building
broke
a.
down the whole roster.
I know, right?
Sorry about that. I just went and kept
No,
going.
you good, man. You do what you got to do. But yeah, no, I think they're on the rise. The question is Drew Lock for real? Time will only tell on that. I will throw in a name that Jeff did forget, Noah Fant. He's a good tight end. Think he's going to be improving as well. Then of course you got Von Miller still there, another Pro Bowler. So I had them 6-10. They're going to have the same record as the Raiders. I think I just have the Raiders having a better divisional record. Don't see them getting in the playoffs this year, but maybe in the next couple of years, them and the Raiders are going to catch the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think we all agree. Okay. Now we're moving on to the Chiefs. Andy Reid. Do I need to say more? He finally did it, right? What
over the hump.
Do you guys remember what I used to call him?
Mm-mm.
Or the modern day Marty Schottenheimer. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, and Marty Schottenheimer, remember I said they'd always dominate their division, have a winning season, blow it in the postseason. And that pretty much fits Andy Reid, right? So I found this stat the other day as I was reading through some things that I thought you'd find interesting. During this, the last year, Reid recorded his 200th victory to become one of only 9 NFL head coaches to win 200 games. With his 206th win at the end of the regular season, Andy Reid surpassed Marty Schottenheimer for the most wins of an NFL head coach to not win a championship.
Nice.
Yeah. So he's now done it. And I think that's huge, not only for him, but for the team. No matter how good of a coach you are, I mean, you're still always self-evaluating, engaging, right? And the guy wins all these games, doesn't win a Super Bowl, thinks now he's got it under his belt. He's got the monkey off his back. He's got a young team. They're arrogant. They got a lot of confidence, a lot of swagger. I think right now they think they're invincible. And with that kind of attitude, they probably are invincible.
Yeah. I mean, the way they came back in 2 games last year in the playoffs. I mean, after you watch the film on that and see what you did to those teams. I mean,
Which teams were those?
That would be the Texans and the Titans taking that ass whooping real quick. But you can go into any game feeling invincible after you do that to 2 pro teams in the playoffs.
You put up 51 points in a playoff game. That's real business right there. I mean, what you put up 51 points in any NFL game, something's wrong. It may be because you're playing the Cleveland Browns. I don't know, but you put up 51 points in a playoff game. That's real stuff, man. That isn't easy. And they made it look easy. That second half, they just made
Yeah, they
It's
did
unreal.
51 points in 3 quarters.
yeah 3 quarters against who?
The Texans. Yeah, but I like what they're doing. Their roster didn't really uh, change at all. You know,
Why would it?
Yeah,
yeah,
they don't need to.
I'd throw my hands up and back away from it. Just let
yeah.
it do its thing.
I do like the addition of Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a backup running back. Damian Williams, if he doesn't perform the way he did last year, Clyde could be the number one. But just to have that number one, that 1-2 punch, just giving Mahomes another weapon, and Andy Reid being able to throw somebody else in the lineup. I mean, they're going to be just as unstoppable in every way this year as they were last year.
If not better.
Yeah,
So it could go. This situation could go two ways, right? They could have peaked, and they'll never repeat what they did, or they could just be getting started, and we could see this for the next couple of years.
yeah. Well, I don't know if it'll span out the next couple of years because of the deal that Patrick Mahomes is going to get. We'll have to see more when the new CBA hits next year and players start getting new salaries, how all that works out. But I don't think, they have so many studs on that team. I don't think you're going to be able to pay them all. But for the next 2 or 3 years, they should definitely still be powerhouses.
Yeah,
Very solid point.
yeah, very.
I think they in the draft they added quite a bit of depth to their defense. They pretty much have every base covered though. Even special teams with the Cole Hardman, he's a return specialist, Pro Bowler. So and then you have Frank Clark, Chris Jones on the defensive side, and of course you got Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey, Williams, Sammy Watkins. He's one of my favorites on the team, and then Tyrann Mathieu on the defensive side too. They just have everything covered. And Andy Reid's over the hump. They got the momentum going. Do they repeat?
That's what I was getting ready to ask. I'd like to throw a caveat. Every team has that one team that they can't beat in the playoffs. And we all know who the one team the Chiefs can't beat in the playoffs is.
That's right.
Them boys from Indianapolis.
And I would love nothing more than the Colts to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs this year and then spend 365 days running my mouth in the AFC South fan battle group.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, it would.
We have to post something every day. But for real, there's something about the Colts and the Chiefs that the Chiefs really struggle with the Colts in the playoffs. I know that's been in the past, but I'd like to think that might come into play. I'd love to see that rematch in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So as a Colts fan, I'm scared of the Chargers doing well because
For the same reason.
the Colts can't beat the Chargers in the playoffs.
Yeah, for the same reason. Yeah, it's weird how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all agree. We all agree the Chiefs taking the division easily. There's really not much contest here.
What do you have as their win-loss record?
I didn't copy it over. I don't remember. I think it was 13-3.
That's what I got.
14-2.
I got 13-3.
It was hard not to pick them every game. They're not going to win every game, and so I think they're repeat Super Bowl champions personally, but there's a lot to happen between now and then.
Yeah, well, 25% of the fans did say the Broncos would sneak in there and get them this year. I just don't see it happening though.
Yeah, they were people that lived in Denver,
probably,
or people that lived in Raiders fans or Chargers fans who knew the Raiders and Chargers weren't going to do it, so they voted for the Broncos too. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, same.
So, all right, cool. That's it. We're going to wrap this up. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. We'd love to hear from you. And what are we doing next?
I believe it's the NFC North.
NFC North.
NFC North. I know we've got connections with a lot of NFC North fans. Being from Indiana, there's look, Chicago fans, Green Bay fans, Detroit fans. There's a couple of those left, aren't they?
Yeah, there's somewhere out there.
Minnesota fans. Maybe we'll get a couple people on here. If you know football and you represent one of these teams, we'd love to have you on and discuss your team in depth. And we might gang up on you, make fun of you a little bit, but it'll be all in good fun. So we'd love to hear from you. Let us know, and we appreciate you watching. And we'll see you next time.
Take it easy.
Ciao.
See you later.